Pankration is nowadays recognized as an all-encompassing and multifaceted martial art that incorporated striking, wrestling, and groundwork, a concept that has only recently become popularized through modern-day mixed martial arts. Many are credited as the forefathers of mixed martial arts, one being the legendary Bruce Lee, whom UFC president Dana White called the father of mixed martial arts. And though it is easily argued that sambo and catch wrestling competitions did take place for decades before the arrival of Bruce Lee, he still represents a great choice as the founding icon of the modern-day combat sport. Similarly, ancient Greeks also placed foundational originators at the source of the art of Pankration, and they were also of legendary or even mythological status. Two credited as founders of the art are Heracles and Theseus. What could be the nature of this dispute? Were the Greeks divided between the two heroes, or did they simply credit them both? Who exactly was the founder of Pankration? First, let's study Heracles, also known by his Roman name Hercules, the demigod of strength and heroism. From his infancy, Heracles was constantly challenged by Hera, the wife of Zeus, who knew he was Zeus's illegitimate child and hated him for it. In her wrath, she would constantly try to cause Heracles suffering and death, though by doing so would only give him opportunity to claim endless glory, justifying his paradoxical name Heracles, glory of Hera. Heracles' first major act of heroism came in the form of 12 labors, which he would complete in a path of atonement after accidentally slaying his wife and children. His very first labor would be to kill the Nemean lion, a beast with impenetrable skin that was ravaging the Peloponnesian region of Nemea. It was told that this is the Herculean labor from which Pankration was born, at least according to the ancient Greek lyric poet Bachylides. There are many accounts of how Heracles was able to slay the lion, though the most plausible in terms of martial arts would be found in a poem written by Theocritus. He mentions that Heracles was indeed unable to puncture the Nemean lion with the use of arrows, causing the animal to charge at him head-on. Heracles then grabbed his infamous club and swung for the fences, striking the lion with all his strength and shattering the club in the process. The lion was incapacitated, but not dead. Afraid the beast would regain its strength and attack him, Heracles mounted its back and applied a rear-naked chokehold on the beast, ultimately throttling the lion's neck until its breathless body lay dead at his feet in the fields of Nemea. Similar to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Pankration's groundwork, which featured both chokes and joint manipulation, was named Pankration, a style which differentiated the art from the ancient Hellenic sport of wrestling. The scholiast of Pindar would disagree with the claim that Heracles was the founder of Pankration, stating instead that Theseus was the originator of the art. Theseus was the son of Aegeus and Aethra, though some stories have him as the son of Poseidon. Aegeus, who was king in Athens at the time, upon hearing that Aethra was pregnant with his child, hid a sword under a large boulder near the city of Troezen. He told Aethra that when their son would come of age, he should lift the boulder in order to take the sword to Athens, where Aegeus would acknowledge him as his son and rightful heir. Theseus did exactly that, while simultaneously proving his strength and courage by taking the Peloponnesian road to Athens, which was full of life-threatening challenges and labours that he was forced to overcome. Though all these would pale in comparison to his face-off with the beast-headed abomination known as the Minotaur. The Minotaur was half-human, half-bull, conceived by the wife of the Cretan king Minos, who was cursed to fall in love with a bull that Minos had failed to sacrifice to Poseidon. Hidden in the center of an almost impenetrable labyrinth, this humanoid beast would devour all those who were unfortunate to meet it, in battle or otherwise. But how can modern man accept the founding myth of Pankration when it is expressed in the non-literal language of mythology? Heracles' slaying of the Nemean lion, though unlikely, could very well be true, but the tale of the Minotaur requires us to accept as fact the existence of a human-bovine hybrid. According to Plutarch, however, there exists a more literal version of this same legend. Minos was the king of Crete, who would take a certain amount of youths from Athens every so many years due to the treacherous slaying of Androgeos, Minos' son, which had taken place in Athens. The people of Athens were distraught, as they did not want to send their children to be at the very best enslaved in Crete. When the time came for the third such offering, Theseus stepped up to the plate and offered himself to be one of the tributes sent to Crete. It is there that he would challenge the legendary Minotaur. Now, according to Philochorus, as cited by Plutarch, Minos had a general named Taurus, who was incredibly cruel to the Athenian youth. King Minos would hold a yearly competition in the form of funeral games, in honor of his lost son, Androgeos, in which Taurus was undefeated. This is not something Minos appreciated, since Taurus was accused of being intimate with Minos' wife, Pasiphae. In this more rationalized version of the myth, which Philochorus apparently heard from the Cretans of his own time, we can see that the legend does leave room for more prosaic interpretations. After arriving in Crete, Theseus wanted to challenge Taurus in these funeral games, and Minos gave him permission to do so. Theseus conquered Taurus, and so Minos remitted the tribute, and freed the enslaved Athenian youths. It is in this very fight that the scholiast of Pindar claims Theseus created Pankration, though also naming him as the founder of boxing, giving us hints as to how Theseus fought. He was a striker. In most depictions, in amphorae, statues and reliefs, you can see Theseus in striking poses, with a more lean and agile physique, as opposed to the larger, bulkier physique of Heracles, who is mostly wrestling his foes. Therefore, two questions arise. Firstly, was the dispute on who created Pankration based on the classic striking versus wrestling debate? Different regions in Greece had different styles of Pankration, some more boxing-heavy, like Rhodes, where the sons of the famous Olympic champion boxer Diagoras took 5 consecutive Pankration Olympic championships, while other regions were more wrestling-heavy, such as the Peloponnesian region of Elis. This debate exists even today, and may very well have been the leading factor in the dispute. Another possible scenario would ask if the dispute was perhaps based on the popularity of the heroes in their respective regions. Theseus was the founding hero of Athens, and it was in the region of Attica where he enjoyed most of his popularity. But for city-states like Sparta, Heracles was naturally a far more popular hero. It could be either one or the other, or even both. But a more idealistic view also has arguments in its favour. What if both heroes were simultaneously credited with the creation of Pankration, but in different aspects of the art? What if, in other words, there really was no dispute? Heracles could have been the founder of the grappling arts, and Theseus the founder of the striking arts, a combination of which gives birth to a unique harmony found in this combat sport, which was millennia ahead of its time. This median ground could have been the unification of these two styles, incarnating itself into an artistic efficacy in fighting that itself translated into warlike competence for the Hellenists, and a bane to their attempted conquerors, changing the course of Western history through a well-known heroic series of unlikely victories that would truly echo throughout the ages.